Yeah, good evening, everyone. India as a country is young, dynamic, and has raised in all fields of technology. And leather sector remained a manufacturing hub for the entire world. Footwear being the second largest producer of the world, and with the overall 3 million workforce at the leather sector, the skilled workforce has made an impact in the Indian economy, and we remain as an employment provider to the nation, and also the top 10 foreign exchange earner for the country. So let's take pride in all these things. However, it's not now, but in the last few years, and also the coming 2 to 3 years as we forecast, the industry will be, let me tell it as volatile, with major changes, frequent and sudden, and industries will be with surprises and unpredictable with change, not only following a predictable pattern, but from different elements and ambiguous with confusion from contradictory information. So this will be the actual current scenario, and the entire skilled workforce will look forward if the industry will stay or shift to another location. Of course, this has been happening in the past few days, but now it will be a little more difficult because it's again how best we could perform and what are the needs. Are we really essential? Will be the questions that the skilled workforce will be looking forward. And whatever be the kind of thinking pattern of everyone, the skilled workforce has been adaptive as on date, and the industry and the skilled manpower will continue to sustain with the leather sector. So let me now look back at the projected skilled manpower requirements. Actually, it was 3 million workforce, and definitely in the current scenario, in this year, there might be a shortfall. It could reduce to 2 million with the kind of orders that have been cancelled, which we have been discussing in the last few webinars. And however, in another 2 to 5 years, there will be a huge rise with the expectations of India being looking forward as a country to beckon on. So there should be another 4 to 5 million people being required for the leather sector, and the overall leather total workforce should remain around 6 to 7 billion by 2025, and it will be a glorious industry. That is what the kind of predictions that will go on. It is an assumption, and this highest incremental human resource requirements is required at niche level to sustain the new age demands, which I'll be talking in the further slides. And we have to enhance the employability of those with minimum and maximum education as well. And skills in demand will be like new age learning methodologies with, of course, to some extent, artistic culture. And basic skill requirements will also be needed. And now, when we go back to look at how will the industry be, what has happened, if you go back to look at the Seth Godin, he's a famous author, in his book called Graceful, which talks about making a difference in a world that needs you. He speaks about industrial age, which started 150 years. And one can remember Karl Marx and Adam Smith. The set of goals in this industrial age was create scarcity so that people will pay extra for what you make and scale up or get bigger to make more money. And this industrial age gave us everything what we wanted. But however, something fundamental has shifted few years back. It started, and the laptop today and the whole world is getting connected together. I mean the laptop and the phone. So the idea of scarcity to abundance is coming towards play. and industrial age is actually ending, and now we have lots available at cheaper price, and this will also affect the leather sector. So the new era which Mr. Seth Godin talks about is described as the connection economy, is rather proceeding towards what we can call today is distraction economy. We have seen with this COVID, and it will continue to be there for some time till post-COVID. So developing and developed countries are facing it. So this new economy is built on certain factors like who trusts you, and who do you know, and who is willing to hear from you, and you need to choose to make a ruckus or to make a noise. So this is what actually our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, is doing to develop countries to gain attention, looks like. And the next important thing is, and how to lead in this time of chaos where most of it is uncertain. And this new economy will demand new skill sets. That is what I'm going to talk about. And see, what I'm talking is something more than what is actually required. It is more of those 3 to 4 million skilled workforce which is needed in the near future. So this new skill sets, you need to think deeply. You have to churn it out. You need to make another nickel or make another dollar in the bank. And you'll need new skill sets or some new learning skills and something that changes people. And of course, COVID has, let me put it the other way, has worked like a blessing in disguise, where most of us will learn how to go to do things in a newer way. So it is all about here, the good employee or bad employee. And it is all about that jobs that are indispensable or jobs with humanity. And the core belief will change, culture will change, mindset will change. And with the millennials as workforce, the entire skilled workforce of the leather sector will see a new dimension. See, probably the employee expectations will change. Probably, as you see, there will be a shift in power in employee-employer relationship. Innovations will surpass. Productivity will gain a lot of importance. And it is like you have to do things faster. Knowledge, innovation, technologies, design, so many things. New innovations and designs in all sectors. See, I'm not talking of any one sector. It's from the leather chemicals to the all the footwear, leathers, processing, and all the other products that we are doing, and loyalty, influence, freedoms. Almost there will be a lot of change in the way we look at leather. And the new leather sector business, probably in the entire world after post-COVID, will have a different scenario. It is not that big will not be a long advantage. So it's not longer the big established organizations that will dominate the smaller ones. It's a fast, technologically advanced, environmentally sustainable, with innovative skilled workforce and adaptive organization will dominate the leather sector. So the idea is to focus on this fast, and speed is essential. And if the speed of the change outside your organization exceeds the speed of your change inside your organization, black clouds are ahead, and unfortunately, insiders will be looking forward as to how to change. So now we go back to see what will be actually the challenges of human skills in leather sector. And why human skills must change. That will be the basic question that we can ask ourselves. Post-COVID, the world of business will dramatically change. There are no predictions as of now, but we can actually forecast few things, which probably we need, the sector should have role models who will see the possibilities for future. Or even in an organization itself, there should be some either the CEOs or anyone within the organization should see the possibilities for future, and the mindset that makes the impossible should be there. The values, understandings, norms, there's so many things, whatever the organization requires should be made as a supportive system within the organization to go ahead. And the challenge should be oriented towards increase in sustainability, and that is going to be the future. And okay, so now what are these new age skills, and how could we go about in getting these skills coming into the sector? And probably we can actually describe the current leather sector's business and environment. See, it was enduring already, but it will endure more is what is the scenario. So to get into this new age skills, what we need to do is we need to have cross-industry partnership skill models, which I'll be explaining further. And we should have cross-country international skills. So it's not just sufficient that we need to always be trying to work as a workforce or as a job workers to foreigners. Today, we need to look at developing our own systems where others will look forward, and we have to enhance not only the international skills, but develop new skills within the sector itself. And that is what I talk about specialized skill archetypes. That is, you need to be niche. You need to be professional, quality conscious, high product. It's like speed. And most of it should be elite performance. And this is where, even though we act as job workers, but there should be even small segment or a small area where companies or organizations should look for elite performance. They should have somebody to work on these areas as well. And for this to happen, for this new skill sets to take place, and the whole entire leather sector should work. It is not only the industry, the training institutions, as well as the leather sector, but it is also research institutions. All three of them should come together and make this human skill benchmarking initiatives for the leather sector. It's for the global sector. That is what should be the future. And new dimensions in human skill branding should be needed. Here, I'm specifically mentioning human skills because today, let me diverge a little. Today, we have something called Industry 4, and there are many factories which are totally controlled by robots. Even that could be a futuristic perspective for developed countries, but for a country like India, where we are deficit of money, then we need to look at enhancing our human skills. And that's why the emphasis on human skills is mostly made here. So world-class human skill upgradation program should be brought in, and this all organizations should work together, and we should have integrated development of soft as well as hard human skills, which I'll be talking in for further slides. And international training support for elite performance skills should be there. And finally, we should end up being the global leadership in human skills, leather human skills, both in education, training with distinct Trinity models. And now, probably, what is that? This is something at an institutional level, but it is not sufficient if institutions alone do it. It is also something which has to come within the organization. So we need to nurture our in-house skill workforce at all levels using unique training models. See, the models that will bring core belief systems, which again I might be speaking in later, and best practices. And there should be a total focus to all these best practices. Follow it to the core and with lot of extreme focus. That's what I mean. And we have to tailor-make programs. As and when new skill comes, new program should come. Even within the industry, the training should happen, and they should come up with tailor-made programs. And interdisciplinary computability and pedagogy innovations. These pedagogic innovations are something like train the trainer. Training the trainers is called the pedagogic. And there should be innovations in this as well. So once these innovations exist, this will go on and take care of the industries with all their requirements. That is, I'm talking about the new skill requirements. and building and nurturing finesse and finite design skills. There should be a small group who could work on this on a day-to-day basis and come up with innovations as required, and skill upgradation to meet global dynamics. This is also another area. We have to keep on upgrading our skilled workforce as and when required. That is with specialization and standardization. And apart from this, there is one more area which probably most of us can look forward. This is basically to which we can look in terms of corporate social responsibility as well, is skilled artisan. So we have actually seen a major major sector like Agra, which has come up in a very nice way. And we also have another area, another artisan sector in Athini, that is a Kolhapuri Chappal, which they have gone phenomenal. But today, see, actually, it is so phenomenal that today we don't have Kolhapuri Chappals for us. They're all exported. So such areas where, such clusters where artisans are there, should be brought in, should be developed, and of course, that will bring about socio-economic improvement from the village side or an underdeveloped sector. And for them, there should be a special focus as well. And I believe government will keep working on it, and partly they are trying to help. And the whole crux of this skilled workforce will happen, or the changes can sustain or happen when there is science, there is technology and skill working together. And the science is where we create knowledge, and the technology is where there is some value that takes place by from the useful knowledge, idea to product creation takes place, and that is the place where skilled manpower will come up, creating a lot of jobs for the society. And this should happen, this we call it as a trinity, this should happen in a continuous way, and this will develop competitive capabilities within the country, which I think most of the speakers have been telling up in the last 19 webinars, and that will drive innovation, and it will also tap knowledge with gainful expertise, and that will leverage science and technology through skilling. So it means that it is not an institution alone, but within the organization also this trinity can happen. The innovations, the technological developments, and parallelly, there could be a small group working on this simultaneously. Now, all this can happen when we look at developing models from cross industries as well. Let's learn lessons from other sectors like we have logistics, we have textiles, we have many from the IT, so many sectors. Let's bring in all the resources from these sectors into the leather sector and try to have a model. A simple example is to use the management models from the premier institutions, and not only within the country, but even abroad as well. So if such models come up, if the government takes up in a very serious way all these aspects and bring in people even from abroad with niche areas, yes, definitely we will nurture an environment for continuous learning and development, and that's where our skilled workforce will have elite performance, and of course certification, integration, brand, international schools, everything will come in live. And the focus for today's presentation is mainly on life skills, and this has been an essential factor early. I don't say it is not an essential factor early, but many were not following. But post-COVID, the COVID has taught us lessons to learn life skills and bring a new component of healthy human skilling within the organization. So let me now talk about, there are around 8 types of skills, but anyways, when we talk about cognitive skills, it's about, when we talk about workforce, it's not just the hands that needs to work. It's also the mind that needs to work. That's a memory. So they should also have knowledge about what they are doing. That mindfulness should come in what they do to give elite performance. Then comprehension to understand, the focus on a bigger picture. Like it's not just sufficient that, let's say, If their job is to make 100 pairs per day, it's not about just 100 pairs, but they need to look at a bigger picture. The finesse, there's so many factors when it comes to productivity, and so many all the factors should be brought into the skilled workforce. And application, simulating problem solving by new connections. This is something which we have to inculcate in every workforce, and this can happen with definitely training. And then wellness skills. See, ergonomics is a very important aspects to fatigue to fitness. So they have to be given a kind of little breaks in between their work, and small exercises which will complement their fatigue. And then their mental health as well. Schedule health screening in between. Probably if, of course, post-COVID will definitely do it. And suggest dietary requirements. This is something which most of us don't do it. Probably post-COVID has taught us to learn more about immunity. And we have to bring in a lot of immune dietary systems within the, most of the organizations provide food to their employees. So immunity should also be one factor when they provide diet to the, and not only that, those workforce who bring food to their workplaces also should be working on the immunity factors. And ambience and indoor quality. This ambience will have to change today. We have social distancing, we have so many things come up, and this discipline will definitely bring a good ambience, and therefore an indoor quality will automatically enhance. And of course, cooperation in terms of social distancing, we can't for another few days, but that becomes a new normal, becomes back to a normal. So there will definitely be some kind of discipline and habits that comes within the people, and there will be accept for change for new normal as well. So there should be self-awareness, self-regulation, self-modulation, and health audits also should be taken up for the skilled workforce. And there are also other factors where we have to integrate with web systems, as what we are doing now. We learn to start webinars, we learn to interact with the new systems or web systems. We should start working on it. But this is just not for a job, but it is also to integrate several aspects, and safety should be brought into the work systems as a priority. And structured training, probably we need to go for retraining initiatives, job design, redesign. See, now redesign is a very important factor because the scenario is going to change. The way we look at the requirements, probably there could be a simple order like, I want anti-COVID-19 leather. So we need to design our technologies, design our systems, or design our shoes, design our footwear, leather goods, and all these areas where we need a lot of analysis, tasks, and skills that keep challenging and work ahead. So there should be job rotation every time, and there should also be enrichment of knowledge, which will give many to work with the different scenarios. And especially post-COVID, it's going to be even more challenging. And then self-learning techniques, skill maintenance, there should be a lot of assessment, framework, all these things, the coaching and mentoring and teamwork. That's another important area which, and talent management, these two are very important for the workforce, bringing about diversity management for the workforce. So now let's look at, but how can this be done? There should be a training methodology and structure. Of course, method of delivery, the basic orientation as to how to go about imparting skills, technical knowledge, all these things have to be taken into force. Like program, like if there is a new program coming, then we need to look at how to encompass, demonstrate, hands-on experience. We can have several modes of delivery, responsibilities at entry level, even at experience level. The expected outcome should be something which is meeting very high standards. And core skills, generic skills, communication and listening. This is what is going to be the focus. Today, we are not going to talk like what we were doing. It is more about texting and just listening. So something what we are doing now. So such skills, such new skills, these are all something new that will be coming up. Like this, there'll be many that will be coming up in the future. And analyzing, planning, organizing, customer. So it will be totally more on data. So data science becomes an essential factor for all the leather sector in future. And occupational health safety standards, operating procedures, they all become a must in future. So with all these new health skills and so many new things coming up, we should definitely have a feedback model to capture in-house trainees' perception, and that could be done in many ways. And another important thing, probably with respect to our leather sector, is that planned obsolescence must be eliminated in all areas of skill set. That is, we should look forward for innovations, for newer things, for creativity. See, it's not like the old thoughts that this recipe cannot be shared or this cannot be done. So it's today, it's not so. So it should be like something which we need to bring new systems. Old systems become little obsolete. Of course, just to say like we can have results or excuses, and we cannot have both. So whatever we talk about the skilled workforce, it is ultimately a key to happy workplace. So both from an individual perspective as well as organizational level, there is always a method or a mode in which we can work. And at organization, even though there are several ways in which the individuals contribute, but at an organizational level, there should always be an inspiring vision within the organization, and everybody should feel happy that yes, I'm working. And there's another important factor which I would like to specifically mention here is everyone should become a CEO of their job responsibility. It's not of an organization, but it's of the job. So if everyone owns a job, that itself is a major factor that will impact the skilled workforce. And today we talk about not entrepreneurship skills, we talk about intrapreneurship skills. That is, every employee takes ownership and becomes a CEO of his or her job. If that's the level of recognition, if they get, definitely there will be a purpose for work, there will be diversity of tasks, clearly defined core values, there'll be a lot of autonomy for them, and there'll be scope for innovation and creativity. And it should be a happy workplace, and people should love coming to work for the leather sector, and that's how they be constructive and applicable to the workplace environment. And now let's look at what's the roadmap for future. Now it's like we should talk about sustaining is what is the current scenario. We have to sustain and go, but this, apart from this, we need to focus even going global through human skill training models. Like, we are not a country with a lot of money power. We are a country with more human power. So let's use this human power and design a roadmap for future. And we have the best intellectual manpower, highly skilled workforce, and it all needs a training at a varied level, at a highest level, to bring the speed in which we want. Rather, you would have seen a lot of speed in Chinese factories. That can be brought in Indian factories if we train them well, if we have a discipline. Of course, COVID is teaching us a lot of discipline. And okay, now let's look at few ways in which we could go about getting these roadmaps to have, is to devise delivery systems for innovative technologies. Changes will happen. We have a lot of new workforce, the millennials, okay, the younger workforce. They have different ideas, they have different thoughts, they have different ways to look at. The perceptions are different. So such new younger generation, young India, will deliver a lot of innovative technologies, and this will definitely be a way forward. We should encourage, we should bring them into workforce, we should employ them and have a lot of freedom given to them to do and establish global performance indicators, and we have to create such a niche intellectual human skilled manpower that will cater the entire global leather sector. And we have to go in with the education models for international levels, and we have to reach the unreached by via skill in association with national and international bodies. And we have to enhance the spectrum of integrated skill initiative by exploring values. And whether you are a table worker, stitcher, helper, manager, a mother, a father, anyone, you have to be the owner of your job responsibility. That should be the kind of the attitude. And you can't build an A-level company, a company which is really good with B-level performance. So you have to improve these performers by training. That's the only way forward for many. And the bigger your team, the more important your team becomes. And you have to set about building a culture where every single employee is responsible for being part of solution than being part of the problem. So that should be the kind of leadership that should be within the organization. And leadership is again human. So, and brain cells have limitless capacity. That is, every brain cell has a limitless capacity. We are born with equal brain cells. Every single individual is a genius. Make workforce obsessive attention to detail, make them masters, and make them love the work and the craft, and above all, make them feel proud for their work by small reward systems. They didn't be materialistic, but it could be by words, by kind words and encouragement. So core beliefs, culture we build in creates an economy. Okay, it is the culture we build in is created by the economy we live, and the economy we build is created by industrialists who want to make not only money, but make a human a better place to live. This should be the kind of way forward. And skill sets is moving towards turning the company upside down and then indispensable. That's the scenario today. So we have to change our attitudes. So we have to move towards from insecurity that we have today and build companies that are more skillful with good responsibilities. So I can probably in conclusion, probably I could say that we should be useful, relevant, and pertinent to the society that we live. And we have to create a dominance where and an expertise, a skillful expertise for the world, for all the challenges that could come, and whatever it is, post-COVID or in future. And we have to build a lot of human lives. It's all human. There's no organization with a human. There's no country without a human. So it is important that human skills should be encouraged. And as we have impacted the Indian economy, we have to continue to impact it more by being the largest employer for the country. Thank you.